top 5 teams that fascinate me going into the NFL season.
So this could be any level. We could think they would be at the bottom. It could be anywhere from the Seahawks to the Bills.
It's based on what changes have come.
Okay.
And what expectations have been placed upon the team.
Okay.
And how entertaining they can be. And how their season plays out fascinates me. And I think can fascinate the league as well. You can make a case that all 32 teams are fascinating in its own way.
Of course.
Its own little snowflake. Like, for instance, Jacksonville, not on my list, fascinating to me because of what Doug Peterson can do for this team in the mere fact that he's not Urban Meyer, and he also won a Super Bowl. And it involves a quarterback who many people know because he was number 1 overall and had a terrific college career. But I just don't know how fascinating Jacksonville is overall, with all due respect to the good folks of Duval County.
Of course.
So I need music. Please.
All right.
I appreciate you getting that ready for me. I've got the 5 most fascinating teams to me entering 2022, and you start with number 5, working our way up. This team lost a major player on offense, a big-time playmaker on offense that many people consider such a game changer for the quarterback, despite his incredible talent, that they are no longer going to be as perennially good at this brand of football, and certainly on offense, any longer. I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, guy who's, cover of Madden, right? He's been on the cover of Madden. Everybody loves him. He's on everybody's fantasy team. There's some coordinator somewhere who wouldn't put his name to the statement that he plays street ball, some sort of stupidity like that.
When his first read isn't there.
But his first read has been Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill's not there anymore. And what will that do to this Chiefs offense? And who's going to step up? And there's Juju Smith-Schuster, and there's Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and a lot of people think that's not enough. Or it's going to be Sky Moore, this kid Justin Watson. Who are they? What are they going to do? And despite the fact that they do have Jerick McKinnon and Ronald Jones at the running back position behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire, everyone thinks it's Andy Reid's going to finally get got on offense. How will this team do this year? A lot of people think they're not going to win the division because of how good the division is. Chiefs are, you're one of them. You're one of them.
I am.
Chiefs are fascinating to me. They're fun to watch. They're going to have as many, I would think, people on your fantasy team and your fantasy league than most teams anyway still. Chiefs are number 5, most fascinating team to me on the list. Number 4 is the defending world champion Los Angeles Rams. They're not getting a lot of talk right now, because I think people believe that Stafford's hurt and last year could have been a fluke. They added they added Allen Robinson to this team. Allen Robinson is a guy that has never had an offense like this at all. What's he going to look like in this offense? And they also added Bobby Wagner behind the best defensive player in the game in Aaron Donald. And they've got a guy on a chip on their shoulder right behind him in Jalen Ramsey. And they've got the Super Bowl MVP in Cooper Kupp. And they've got Sean McVay now back under contract. And can they win it all again? Every single game that the Rams play, to me, is fascinating. It starts with the Buffalo Bills up front, and then they've got their division games as well. They have to play Tampa Bay. They have to play Green Bay again. This team has got an incredible schedule. Vegas. They've got to play Denver. They play the AFC West, which everybody thinks is the toughest division in football. Every division game has got something to it. They play the Dallas Cowboys as well. Baker Mayfield in Carolina is on their list. That might be the one team that you're not even thinking about on their schedule. The Chargers, the battle for LA, if you will.
They play the Bills.
That's first up.
Just first up.
It's a fascinating team to me. In a way as well, West Coast, East Coast bias and West Coast ignored. How many people are saying the Rams have a chance to repeat? They're number 4 on my list. Here are the most fascinating teams entering 2022. Number 3 are the Denver Broncos. All right, Russ.
Wait, what?
Let's ride. Let's ride. Let's see what's what. I have been saying I need to see it to believe it. I can't wait to see it. First up, Denver at Seattle. Come on. Right away, they send Russ back home. Let's see what Denver looks like. That defense that looked good with Vic Fangio. Now it's got a new coach, a new way of looking at things. Nathaniel Hackett is hooked up to we're not wondering if Russ is going to cook. He's got the kitchen, he's got the ingredients, he's got everything now. He's got the hat, he's got the stove, he's got whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. He's got everything in the kitchen. Russ is going to be allowed to cook in a way that I guess he wasn't allowed to cook in Seattle. And the Denver Broncos, a lot of people think can win this division. I need to see it. And every single time that Russ goes out there under his new auspices and he takes on the NFC West as well. So he's going to be back in his old division his first time out. Can't wait to watch this whole thing play out. They're fascinating to me, number 3 on the list. Number 2 on the list is a team that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. I don't think a lot of people are talking about being fascinating.
Hint.
But give
us a hint.
It is a guy with a team with a new head coach and a new weapon and a quarterback that everybody is waiting to see. Can he live up to the billing that 2 guys in his draft class that were drafted, one in front of him and one behind him, have been living up to in elite status already? It is the Miami Dolphins. Number 2 on my list, Tua, is number 2. The Dolphins, Tyreek Hill in this offense, Jalen Waddle in this offense, the running game with Raheem Mostert in this offense, Mike McDaniel is bringing from San Francisco. Every post-game press conference with this guy is going to be fascinating to me. And I got to see what he does game management. I got to see what he does in press conferences where I think he wins them. Everybody is wondering what he was saying on Levitard's show, talking about Tua throwing the most accurate catchable ball he's ever seen. You heard Jordan Palmer saying yesterday that was weird. He's going to do things unconventionally. I don't know what he's going to do game management style. Him versus Belichick is going to be fascinating to me. This team that won all those games last year under Brian Flores and playing hard-hitting defense, what's it going to look like, this offense? That's the track meet. And will Tua be able to execute it? Can they give a threat in division to the Bills? Will they make the playoffs this year when they came so close last year? Because the offense is going to be clicking under Tua with Tyreek Hill. What's he going to look like without Mahomes? And if it doesn't look like what we know Tyreek Hill to look like, is he going to be more vocal now in a way that he didn't say a word in Kansas City? Or we're going to hear more from Tyreek in the manner that we've heard from wide receivers who don't get the football? For instance, we won't learn about a Week 5 game in which he thought he was being iced out of the offense in a podcast the following year, right? The Miami Dolphins are number 2 on this list.
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
That's what I'm talking about. Salty Tua. I'm fascinated by the Miami Dolphins. And then number 1 on this list is going to be number 1 on so many people's lists to win it all. The Buffalo Bills. How will they make sure they live up to the billing that everybody is going to be billing, if you will, for Buffalo? How are they going to follow up what we saw last year with another 2 steps forward? We've seen him in an AFC championship game, and then we saw him in a divisional playoff game lose in Kansas City. And if Kansas City is less than in people's minds, then the door is wide open for the Buffalo Bills. Wide open. Josh Allen is an MVP candidate. Gabriel Davis could be a number 1 in number 2's clothing. I think James Cook is remarkable. Von Miller is now there. And the punt god won the job. Shocked the world. Matt Araiza, whenever the Bills don't do well on offense, somehow are 3 or 6 and outed, or do have their backs to their goal line, he'll just flip the field right around. Even their punt unit will be fascinating to watch this year. The coach, everything is set up for the Buffalo Bills and the Bills Mafia to have the season for the ages. And every single game from start to finish, they're going to be opening up in the home of the defending Super Bowl champs. They are taking on, obviously, their own division opponents. They are visiting Cincinnati on a Monday night after the calendar turns, January 2nd. They're playing on Thanksgiving again at Detroit. They're playing in front of the nation against New England the following week. They're going to be on national television their first 2 games. They're playing the Sunday night of Halloween weekend against Green Bay. Look out, man. They're back in Kansas City again at Baltimore, where it's Allen versus Lamar. Fascinating matchups. All of them, including at Miami. My top 2 most fascinating teams are playing twice this year. That's my list. Top 5 most fascinating teams for me entering 2022. Gents, you have the floor. Anything?
I mean, I like it. I think, like you said, all 32 teams are fascinating heading into this year. Whether they're fascinating nationally, I think you kind of hit it here. Cowboys are always fascinating. 49ers, I'm kind of surprised you didn't have on that list, just considering how often you've been talking about Trey Lance and talking about them. Raiders, also fascinating. Surprised they didn't make your list as well.
I think they're fascinating to me. I don't know. I mean, just in terms of their division, but I don't think every single one of their games they got to must see what's going on. I mean, the Chiefs, a lot of people think that they are going to, the bed.
I don't understand that.
Neither do I. As you say, as you know, I've been saying over the last week, their offense is going to be better than most people think, if not better. But I still think the Raiders are set up with Devontae Adams.
I think the Colts are pretty fascinating to me.
Don't you think, though, the Broncos are the fascination of so many people
yes,
that Russ has changed addresses?
They made such a big trade. I mean, that was the biggest, splashiest NFL trade we've seen.
What if Russ goes there and actually takes them to the playoffs in the same manner that he perennially did Seattle? What if he does that? What if he doesn't?
He might be
That's
MVP.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if they do or they do not.
Yeah.
If they do or they do not, it's still fascinating to me. Same thing with Miami.
And they have a new head coach.
Same thing with Miami. That's the one aspect about Miami is that if Tyreek Hill was never heard from in Kansas City, that's going to change in Miami.
Well, it's already. His podcast makes headlines.
That's what I'm saying.
All over the place. Also with Miami, I think there's just the backdrop of the Tom Brady stuff from the offseason.
Oh, yeah.
And whether or not
Tua's
even going to be the quarterback next year.
You're not thinking that of it. That's what I'm saying. That's not a question with Derek Carr. He's a guy.
Well, except Derek Carr turned out was the MFer.
But that's so long ago. Gruden's long gone. So is Mayock. There's a new guy in town.
I get it, but like Albert said yesterday, it's a story that it's not going to go away.
I'm just saying the Bills have a level of expectation that fascinates me. The Rams are the defending Super Bowl champs. How fascinating will that be if they do it again or have an opportunity to do it again? And we'll have to see, can they do it again? How repeatable is last year? That's always fascinating to me. The Chiefs are just a fascinating team to begin with, certainly if they don't perform as well as people think. Denver is fascinating, and so is Miami, because that quarterback situation is totally like this could be the end of Tua.
Giants are pretty fascinating, too.
But if they don't win, people will expect that.
Right. But they have a new head coach. It's kind of make or break for Daniel Jones and Saquon, really. I don't know, I mean, every year we're like, this is going to be the greatest season ever, but this is really going to be the greatest season ever.
You're awful quiet over
there. I just listen.
He doesn't want anyone to talk about Dallas.
Yeah, I'm just glad we're not talking about the Cowboys.
They're not as fascinating to me. I'm sorry. I mean, and I'm not going to just manufacture it just because so many shows want to manufacture it because the Cowboys get the clicks and all that sort of stuff.
I'm saying I appreciate that.
I think they've taken a step backwards.
I appreciate that.
I think they have.